Hi everybody, welcome to the Louvre. The pyramid behind me is the major entrance to the Louvre Museum. The Louvre is the national art museum of France.
Yes.
So you have artwork from all around the world, from thousands of years ago until the middle of the 1800s.
So where are we, Lucien?
So we are in a courtyard, as you can see, which is called the Marly Courtyard.
Marly, okay.
Marly, yeah, which is named after where most of the sculptures are from, which is the estate of Versailles.
Okay. So all the sculpture that we are looking at, they are coming from Versailles.
Yeah, Versailles, exactly, except for the two most famous sculptures, which are the sculptures here and there, which
Okay.
came from the estate of Marly, right next to Versailles.
Okay, so it's just a kind of an extension of the royal domain.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And you might notice that there's a lot of natural light in this room,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
because all the sculptures here are outdoor sculptures that were in the gardens of Versailles and of Marly, and they were brought here in the 1980s. So today you only have copies in Versailles.
Very nice, and you have even trees. I can see that. We
Exactly.
have-
So that's the other reference to the gardens, and the open air aspect. That's all the work of I.M. the architect of the pyramid.
So what is the story behind the Venus of Milo?
The story behind the Venus of Milo, well, there's really two ways to tell it. There's the way the Louvre tells it, and then the way it sort of happened. The way the Louvre tells it is that that statue was found in the 1820s on a Greek island called Milo,
Okay.
eventually bought by the French and brought back to the Louvre. And it was very quickly considered to be one of the greatest Greek statues ever made, despite the fact they originally thought it was Roman, which is why it's called Venus and not Aphrodite, which should be its real name. She's moving. That's the fundamental innovation of the Greeks compared to the Egyptians, for instance. We might talk about the Sphinx. The Sphinx is scary, but the Sphinx doesn't move.
Yeah, and there is this movement in her hips, right? Like
In
she's
the
kind
hips,
of spinning
in
and
the
turning.
shoulders,
Yeah.
in the legs.
So she's like she's moving and she's probably walking. and-
Exactly.
Okay.
And even more than that, there's even movement that goes through her body.
Okay.
Next time you're in front of the Venus of Milo, look closely at her hair. You'll see it's parted both ways. There's a line that starts there that goes around her nose, around her chin, circles in the middle of her chest, circles around her belly button, and circles in around her leg. We call this line the serpentine line, like a snake
Okay.
going through it.
Yeah, you can see it well. Okay. So you say that the big statue on the top of the stairs is called a winging Victory.
Yeah.
So what is a victory, or what is the symbol of that?
So the Victory, she's a minor goddess in the Greek world whose job is to announce to the humans fighting with each other the decision of the gods, who won and who lost. And she does so by flying around in the sky at the end of a battle while all the warriors look up to see where she lands. If she lands on your side, great. If not, better stop running.
Oh, okay. So she is announcing before the actual end of the battle
Exactly.
who is going to be the winner.
Because for the Greeks, ultimately, it's the gods' decision. You can't go against the will of the gods.
Okay, so she is always with wings. She's female.
Yes, she's female, she's always with wings, and she is usually shown announcing victory. We talked before about the fact that the Greeks like to show their gods and goddesses in movement. So usually she will have her right hand in front of her and she'll be looking in a specific direction, announcing victory on to one side or to the other.
And the one here in the Louvre, so she's on a boat.
Yes.
Is that for something?
The one here in a boat, the one here in the Louvre is on a boat because we think that she was made for sailors. That's part of a little bit of the mystery surrounding this piece. When she was first found, actually, people thought she was not part of the boat. It's only later that they realized that she was supposed to be seen probably from a lower point of view, because she was found on top of a cliff, by sailors coming back to an island.
So she was just upper
Exactly,
and they
yeah.
can see it. Okay.
And that's why the Louvre put her on the top of the staircase. That's why you're supposed to see her from under at first,
okay.
as if you're coming up the cliff.
So where was she originally?
So she was found on a little island all the way to the north of Greece called Samothrace, or Samothrace. That's why she's called the Victory of Samothrace. So his little name was Akhetotep, and he was a very high-ranking member of one of the pharaohs of Egypt. And we're in his funerary chapel, in which is described, first of all the rites linked to his ceremony, his burial ceremony. So you can see people bring in food
and drinks. And
you have
music.
You even have dancers. You know, that's how you dance like an Egyptian. And then, of course, you have my favorite scene, which is going to be right here, images of daily life in Egypt thousands of years ago.
Wow.
And thousands of years ago, daily life included hippo hunting that you can see at the top with beautiful colors, incredibly well preserved.
Yeah.
It included fishing with enormous nets. You can see all the fishes that are
See all the
caught
different
here.
types of fishes as well.
Exactly.
So we are in the apartments of Napoleon III,
Yeah.
so nephew of Napoleon I, the Great.
Exactly.
But why? I mean, are they living in the Louvre at the time?
So no, Napoleon III is the name of the emperor who built this section of the Louvre.
Okay.
Nobody lived actually in this section.
No.
This section was made for reception.
Okay.
The only person that lived nearby was the person who was in charge of organizing those receptions, who lived just a couple of rooms away from here. But of course, his rooms were much smaller. This room, as you can see, is meant to welcome hundreds of people, 200 people at the most. And it's a room that is all organized around the art of conversation. For this room only, they invented a new type of furniture. Look around and see if you can find it.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Are they original furnitures?
Yes, of course, they're original. I was trying to attract your attention to that piece over there. This is if you want to have a conversation.
With three persons.
Exactly, with three people.
Okay,
exactly.
Interesting.
And so there was never the same number of guests at all the events, which is why this enormous piece of furniture here is actually detachable. You can take one sofa out and put it here, one sofa out and put it there. And so this is the room where guests were supposed to sit down, talk, and eventually watch a show.
It's very goldy around here.
Yes.
Is that the style of Napoleon III?
Yes, there's one of the buildings that you might know of if you go around Paris, built under Napoleon III, is called the Garnier Opera. You can see. And so Napoleon III is a style that is many things, but subtle is not the word that we usually use to describe it.
It is a bit bright.
Yes. So the Louvre has hundreds of thousands of artworks.
Wow, okay.
Hundreds of thousands, so it's about 500,000, who are themselves organized in over 500 rooms.
Wow.
You put all those rooms in a straight line, it's 12 miles long.
Okay.
And remember, we said that the tour is 2 hours and a half. So what we tend to do on the tours is to try and figure out an itinerary where we can see the most famous pieces and more.
Either you like art or history or architecture, you will love it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, there's no aspect of culture that you can miss in this museum. Whether you're more into sculptures, whether you're more into paintings, whether you're more into drawings, it has hundreds of thousands of examples of everything.
But it's up to the 19th century, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if I want to continue after the Louvre to see more modern stuff, where should I go?
So you have to go to a museum called the Orsay Museum, which is right across the river from the Louvre.
So for the Impressionists, for example, it will be to Musée d'Orsay. And is that something you can do in a day, like doing the Louvre and Musée d'Orsay?
Yes, of course. You can do the Louvre and the Musée d'Orsay. Usually we do that in about 5 hours, I'd say, a little bit more if we have a break for lunch. I can even tell you a little secret though. There is one room with Impressionists in the Louvre.
Oh, okay. So if you want to see a little bit of the Impressionists, you can do that in the Louvre,
Yeah.
but the rest you have to go to Musée d'Orsay. Well, thank you so much for this tour of the Louvre.
My pleasure.
So we saw just a few of all the masterpieces that you can see in 2 hours and a half with us,
Yeah.
with a private tour. So Lucien is a part of a whole team of guides. So I hope that you're going to enjoy or Lucien or any other guides of My Paris during your tour. So yeah, we're just waiting for you here.
Yeah, thanks for watching.